Coming up on today's edition of Women in Money, the shit we don't talk about, our guest is Lora Georgieva.
I've been waiting to hear Laura's story about her divorce. It's a powerful one.
It is. And Lora, when she shared her story with me, it was absolutely jaw-dropping.
I'm excited, so let's dive in.
Gloria Steinem once said, "We will never solve the feminization of power until we solve the masculinity of wealth." Barbara Provost and Maggie Nielsen are the team at Purse Strings that will help you navigate the ins and outs of financial independence so that you can be financially fearless. This is Women in Money, the shit we don't talk about.
So yeah, Lora is going to share her very personal story about her divorce. And so for those of you who don't know Lora, she is one of our Purse Strings approved professionals. She's a certified college planner and founder of Destination College. She offers such a unique service by helping families navigate the often difficult web of college planning. So Lora, feel free to share a little bit more about yourself.
Thank you. So can I share a little bit prior to my divorce, because I feel like my story is about overcoming obstacles, and that is also included in my story. So as you can sense from my accent, I wasn't born in America. I am from Europe, from Bulgaria, and I immigrated here in 2003 with a suitcase, just like most other people, and not much money in my pocket. So before I immigrated, my father, told me, what, you're going to go there, you're going to work hard, you're going to wash dishes until the rest of your life, but you're going to provide great future for your kids. So pretty much he sent me off, to the United States, with the thought that, I will not succeed, in my career, but, I will work my butt off, and, to provide for my kids. So when I arrived here, I was thinking that, probably I will not speak the language really well, and I'm not going to be able to find any career opportunities and stuff like that. So I started working at a bank, and then I grew to being a financial advisor a couple years later. And, it kind of like snowballed, because I've always had great, work ethic, and, I'm always a hard worker. I love working. I love people. But, this is something that is unique about me is, I believe in hard work and dedication, and always in the never give up mentality. So I was working as a financial advisor when actually my husband at that time, served me at work, not knowing that I will be served with the divorce paperwork. So
did you know that a divorce paperwork was coming? Like, had you talked about divorce before you got those papers?
Yeah, we have, but it was like pretty amicable, and we decided that we're gonna hire one person, and pretty much peacefully resolve it, and everybody take his or her own way, and we have 2 kids together. So let's be friends and resolve it peacefully. Well, that didn't happen, the way we planned. So I was a financial advisor at that time, and, somebody was coming to my office to serve me with paperwork. So the managing partner at that time, he was telling me, like, what did you do? Like, did you mess up, some investment portfolio or insurance or something like that? Because there's somebody coming to serve you with paperwork, so you're going to court. And I'm like, I don't know, like, all of my clients are happy with me. I go 200% above and beyond, to help them with their needs. So to my surprise, that was my divorce paperwork. And then the battle started in April of 2009. In the beginning, I hired an attorney, and I quickly realized that, as an immigrant and a mom of 2 kids, and my income was only commission. And during 2008, 2009, the economy sank, and so did my income. So, with very little income, I couldn't afford to pay an attorney and, raise my 2 kids. So my only option was learning the family law and going to court and being against one of the best attorneys in Lake County.
Wait. So you had to learn family law to defend yourself. How did you go about doing that?
Well, I always say it's very easy when you don't have a choice.
Right. There's nowhere to go. You got to create your own path. But what resources did you use?
Google, everybody knows Google. So, I Googled, what I need to do. And I spent countless hours in the library at Waukegan Courthouse. And I asked, the people there, for additional resources. So I read the books, I asked them for resources, I read online and learned how to draft petitions and motions. And unfortunately, after 3 years of court battle, we had to go to a trial. And I was representing again myself against, my ex-husband and his cousin, she registered one of his business in her name to hide income from me, for child support purposes. So she had an attorney, my ex had an attorney, and they're both in court. And here I am, standing by myself. And I subpoenaed witnesses, I subpoenaed records, I subpoenaed, so many things. And it was kind of hard because I go to the bank, after I submit a subpoena, like 20 minutes after I fax the subpoena, and it's already rejected because his attorney found a motion to strike the subpoena. And they're like, they prepare the paperwork and it's in their hands, ready to hand it to me. And then they're like, oh, we just received, a motion to strike the subpoena. So we're taking this back. And we go back and forth until, I kind of, didn't receive anything. And, through the witness testimonials and people that were on stand, I was able to get really good with asking questions. And I asked questions to get the truth out. And then the judge.
Was it, why did you go to trial? Was it over the money or was it over the children? Or was there something else going on that this took 3 years?
Well, for him, it was never over the children. Everything was over the money. But, with, a person who is getting income, through commissions, I try to support them as much as I can. And the child support was $1,000 a month, which was not a lot, but, he was fighting to not pay anything. And when we started the divorce, he also wanted to get the money from the kids' college savings plans.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway, it was, for financial reasons only, but that's the reason why I went to trial because, of child support, you don't want to pay child support, no medical expenses, dental expenses, and everything was on me. In addition to that, he was also not seeing the kids on his visitation dates. So he would pay my mom, to spend time with the kids and, so he doesn't spend time with them. So it was never about the kids. But my point was that I got really good at asking questions. And I think that, working as a financial advisor before, helped me with the psychology of thinking and, how to ask the question to get the right answer. And that's how I won the trial, not because I was perfect at being a lawyer, because I did not have, the diploma or the experience, behind me. I just knew how to be kind and how to act from my heart and how to ask the right questions. And through doing that, I won the trial. They awarded me all of his money from his bank account, which was $10,000. For some people, it's not a lot, but for a single mom with 2 kids, 2 and 3 year olds, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And the assistant to the judge ended up standing up and clapping, at the end of the trial because she just simply couldn't realize, what I went through. Yeah. And, how I was able, to pretty much win the trial against a really good attorney in Lake County.
Well, you should have been awarded an attorney designation of some sort for just doing all the work that you did. But I do know that during the same time that you lost your house and you started a business. Can you tell us a little bit about those two pieces?
Yeah, well, I lost more than my house. Actually, my bank account, my house, a lot of things. So it was 2013 when I went to the bank to make a mortgage payment and they refused to take my payment. And I was asking why, because I was never late with my payment. And they said, well, the simple reason is because your ex-husband canceled the loan modification because we had a loan modification at that time. And I said, well, what can I do now? Because we have nowhere to live. I want to continue paying for my mortgage payment, the loan modification. And they said, well, you can either ask him to re-sign the paperwork so he can let you and the kids stay where you're at, or you can refinance the house, but you have to give us $150,000 cash to be able to buy him out because the house, when we bought it, was much higher than what was worth, at the time.
So it was underwater.
It was underwater, like more than double underwater. And I couldn't I don't have the funds, but even if I did have the funds, it made no sense, to do it. So I asked him, to sign the paperwork. He didn't. I ended up losing the house and moving in with my parents in January of 2013. I still remember it was the biggest snowstorm, out there. And
of course, it couldn't be a hot, sunny day. It had to be the worst snowstorm ever when you had to move. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think my kids were 6 and 7 or 7 and 8 at that time. And I just remember like driving in the U-Haul truck, packed with my stuff and bursting into tears. It's like it was just pouring, out of my eyes, tears. And, that was my next chapter. So I spent 3 years at my parents' house, living in one room with my kids. So I was sleeping on the couch and they had their own beds. And that's how we survived, those 3 years. I went through court, during that time too, because our court battle continued for 11 or 12 years after that. Because
really?
Even after the divorce was finalized, he still did not continue with his obligations to pay or see the kids. And and then after my parents, I was able to, after I started the business, so I started my business in 2009, right when the divorce started. And I knew that I'm going to get kicked out of the house. I knew that I have to support 2, young kids. And I'm starting a new business, not knowing anything about this business.
Oh my goodness. You are so tenacious. It's crazy.
I mean, you could pretty much figure out anything if you've learned English, figured out our whole financial system and our legal system. I mean, poof.
I actually love overcoming obstacles, and
you're doing great at it. You're doing great at it.
I have a sign, behind my desk, and it says, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone." So I try to live my day, every day by this saying. But yeah, I mean, so when I was a financial advisor, I went to an advanced planning seminar, and they were talking about college planning, and I was like, oh, I'm opening 529 plans left and right. I'm doing a good service for my clients. Until I quickly realized, that maybe overfunding those plans might not be in my client's best advantage if their income is not too high. So then I started researching about other vehicles, to save, to be able to get more financial aid and scholarships, need-based scholarships. So that's how I came across the college planning designation. And in 2011, I got certified, 2010, got certified as a certified college planner. And I'm like, here I am, I'm going to go back to my financial planning company and tell them that I can specialize in college planning, and I'm going to get so many referrals from other financial advisors. And they told me, what, our rules, take it or leave it. You cannot specialize in college planning. And at that point, I was the 11th certified college planner in Illinois. And I said, okay, well, not my first time, facing an obstacle.
Watch me, right?
Watch me. Yes. I'm going to start a new business and, just take it from the ground up. And I self-taught myself about admissions and financial aid and hired the right people. And this is my 12th year doing college planning. So I also opened a non-for-profit because of my story to help homeless kids and single moms get a successful career and be successful and just like push them, through like getting out of their comfort zone and achieving what I believe every woman should achieve. And that's why I feel passionate about joining your organization, because we as women, juggle so many things, together. And I feel like I believe in the power of female market and, overcoming obstacles.
Well, you're like the grand leader of it all. It's just your story is such a powerful one, starting literally from nothing and overcoming all those obstacles. Any one of those would be a huge success, but one after the other. And now running your own successful business and now also opening a non-for-profit. It's so admirable. So what's next on your plate? What is it that you
got to be getting bored, right? Yeah. It seems like there's a lull. You only have a business and a nonprofit and still 2 growing children.
I have so many things on my plate. I also published a book, a college planning book. What others don't tell you about college planning, but what's on my plate is actually turning the book into online platform that students in high school and libraries and other institutions can use to create a step-by-step process from 9th grade until 12th grade. And it's based on the book, and my experience to follow it. So my goal is to influence as many people as I can to have successful education and career. I have so many stories to tell. One of them is actually of a student who didn't want to go to college because his mom was divorced too from his dad, and she had a dog walking business and it was not successful. So the dad was paying, a good amount of child support, but that still wasn't enough to cover the mortgage and, food and utility payments. So the child was actually working to help his mom with the bills. And that was the reason why he didn't want to go to college. So actually his father hired me to work with him, and I convinced him to apply with civil engineering, and he got admitted to University of South Carolina. Him and his mom and his sister moved to South Carolina. He was able to get all of his tuition covered between grants and scholarships. So that was what was attractive to him, not paying or taking on a lot of loans. He still continued to work and help his mother with the bills. But his dad actually contacted me, and he told me that he graduated, from the university with civil engineering, and a year later he bought a house.
Wow.
And these are just the stories, and I can share a lot of stories with related to being a single mom or divorce or something like that, and overcoming that obstacle. And this is where my heart is pretty much through my non-for-profit to help those kids in need and women in need.
Wow, that's impressive. And I know that I've heard some other stories as well. Can you share just the one more story about the young girl who wanted to go to medical school?
So her plan was to go to Poland and graduate with medical education there and come here. So I actually helped her, get the equivalent of education here. And she also had her undergraduate and graduate school paid for by a full scholarship, which is very rare because for medical school, most of the students take on only loans. Mm-hmm. But we were able to cover, her education through scholarships.
That's amazing. I mean, the service that you're providing, Maggie, applying for all those loans and scholarships for school, it's kind of a rat's nest if it's every time you're new at something like that.
Yeah, it's not enjoyable, but I'm so impressed by all the work that you do, and you just, no matter what, keep pushing forward and keep inspiring others to push forward through any of these situations. You just keep going.
Yeah. Well, my long-term goal is to fix the education system here, which is going to take a lot.
Yes.
But someday I will do that.
Yeah, no doubt. Now share a little bit from what you've learned through your divorce process and being your own attorney and winning. What advice would you give to women who find themselves in the same situation that maybe you found yourself in? What kind of tips, or even women who are married and don't even think they're ever going to find themselves in that situation? What advice do you have for women? I mean,
remaining calm in the storm. I think that's very important and very hard to achieve. And believing in yourself and, the power of overcoming obstacles. And I just feel that, as women, like a lot of men, including my dad, like when I was getting divorced, he would tell me, oh, like you need to tell me, like how are you managing finances or what your plans are, with the kids, how are you going to support them or how are you going to support yourself and this and that, because you don't have a husband. I mean, that's what he, used to tell me, you don't have a husband. Now I'm the male figure, in your life. So you have to report to me. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. When I lost my house, I also, the banks took all of my savings from my checking and savings. So I ended up with not having a checking or savings account because, there was a lien against me, because they weren't taking my mortgage payment. So I kind of like stopped existing financially, and I was probably like 31 at that time. As women, we feel like sometimes powerless, because we think that, men should handle finances or major decisions or something like that. When I believe that, everybody has the power, to create their destiny and to follow their dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And to tell you honestly, to give you a fun example, I decided to self-teach myself how to change the tile in the bathroom.
Of course you did.
So, just to give an example, I mean, usually, that's a men's, job, to do construction. I love doing that. And I'm like, okay, there is nothing that I can't learn, through YouTube. So I learned it. I bought a tile saw, and I bought the tile and the mortar and, the grout, and the result is amazing.
We'll be waiting for that second business.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm not going to be doing that as a second business.
Well, I can't thank you enough, Lora, for sharing your really powerful story and showing that with, perseverance and tenacity, and like you said, keeping calm in the storm, that you were really able to take some very challenging situations head on and really overcome them. You're to be commended. You really are. I'm so glad I met you because I just admire you and what you're doing for families and for women and for those who want to get through college. And, you're very much a model for your family and for your children to show that, hey, watch me, right? Nothing's going to hold me back. And you're a true example. You really are. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing. Maggie, any words to share?
I mean, I'm just impressed. So I think, everyone needs to step into their power, and we can see how finances really affect everything that we do. So, become financially fearless, step into that power, own it, and you can see good things happen.
Yeah. Any last parting words, Lora?
Use your girl power.
Yeah.
Girl power.
You are a super woman, and you can definitely do it.
Yep. I agree. Love it. Great way to end the podcast. Thanks again, Lora. And this is Purse Strings. You can find us at pursestrings.co. Lora is one of our Purse Strings approved professionals, always ready to help anyone who wants to navigate that college planning process. Give her a call, reach out to her. You can find all about her on the Purse Strings website. And for now, we'll be signing off. See you next time. Thank you.
Information is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute tax, investment, or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action.